In the beginning, we see a beautiful girl named Ella. She's the princess of the Green Sea dynasty and has a lovely and bubbly personality. She's also well-liked by her people due to her strong sense of justice. One day, her parents decide to step down from the position of king and queen and travel around the world together. For this reason, they pass their royal titles to her uncle and aunt and prepare to leave. Ella is a little sad on their departure and wants to go with them, but her father gently tells her that this trip is only meant for the two of them. However, he promises to bring her along on their next trip. Till then, he suggests she finds herself a groom as well so that she won't be lonely anymore. After Ella's parents leave for the much-awaited life away from responsibilities, she's often being persuaded by her aunt to get married as well. Her aunt also brings her portraits of young nobles who could be a great match to her, but Ella doesn't wish to get married yet and always finds a way to escape. After this, we see a magical land called Beast Kingdom. This place is hidden from the rest of the world, and humans are unaware of its presence. We see the king of Beast Kingdom, Noah, sitting in a dark hall and surrounded by a mysterious aura. He's in a lot of pain, and if he doesn't find his pearl that provides him with the holy power, he'll get weaker and weaker and eventually die. It is revealed that Noah had gone to the human realm where he stumbled across a girl who accidentally swallowed his holy pearl. He often goes to the human realm with his right hand, man Robert, to find that girl. Robert is worried about his security and suggests that he should stay back in the Beast Kingdom and let him find the girl, but Noah refuses because only he can feel the presence of that girl. On the other hand, Princess Ella likes a horse in the market and tries to ride it, but somehow the horse becomes out of control and starts running towards the jungle. The Beast King and his aide hear the princess screaming for help, and at the same time, the horse suddenly stops in its tracks, sending the princess flying forward and landing into the king's arms. She loses consciousness in his hands. Noah places her with a tree and tries to leave, but he feels the aura of his pearl coming from her and realizes that she's the girl who swallowed his pearl. He immediately decides to bring her to his world, but can't pick her up due to his weakness. Soon, he has to hide with his henchmen when the princess's guards arrive. From Ella's conversation with the guards, they realize that she's the princess of this kingdom and leave to come back some other time. Princess Ella's aunt chooses a general for her to marry and announces her marriage in the empire. Since Ella doesn't wish to get married, she meets the general and politely refuses to marry him, but the general suddenly turns into an evil man and tries to force himself on her. Her guards had left to give them some privacy as a couple, but Noah, who came to look for the princess, saves her and brings her to his world. Before leaving, he also takes her guard's identity token so that it can help with sneaking into the palace next time. Once back to their world, the Beast King gets too weak to carry her and puts her down on a grass patch. His aide convinces him to go back to the palace first to recuperate. He assures him that a maid from the palace will come pick her up, and the king reluctantly agrees. Ella gets worried upon waking up in the jungle, but soon a palace maid arrives with a palanquin telling her that she's here to bring her back to the palace. At first, she gets happy to return to her palace, but soon, the princess gets suspicious of the group when they don't recognize the name of her empire and tries to escape. However, she's dumbfounded by the maid's supersonic speed in catching up with her. She's finally convinced by the maid to go to the palace, but still asks her how she managed to run that fast. The maid named Caroline says that she's a cat, but Ella takes it as a joke and counters with a remark that she herself is a rabbit. For Ella, the joke soon turns into a reality when palanquin bearers run fast like horses, and they reach the beast city where she sees different people acting weirdly similar to beasts, and is told that they all are beasts of different kinds such as panda, silkworm, and chameleon. Scared out of her wits, the princess once again tries to flee by getting Caroline busy in a makeover store, and this time she's caught by a lady beast who sniffs her and asks who she is because she smells different. Ella barely gets away with her excuse of using a different perfume. Robert and Noah watch the whole episode from the roof of a house, and Robert becomes worried that if people of the Beast Kingdom realize her identity, they'll become a threat to her, but the king calmly responds that he'll give her a strong identity. He'll make her his wife to get his power pearl back. The plan leaves his aide too stunned to say anything. Noah further clarifies that his pearl is inside the princess's body and can only be extracted via a kiss because he can't harm an innocent girl for his benefit. According to the beast rules, one can't get so close to a young girl until she's his wife, so he has to marry her in order to kiss her and get his pearl back. From the conversation between the king and his aide, it is also revealed that beast rules insist on the pure bond of love between a couple, or he may not be able to get his holy pearl back. So far, Noah has been exerting his strength to increase the water in the holy spring, but Robert worries that holy water's supply is depleting quickly. The Beast King then gives Robert the responsibility to protect the future queen, who in her attempt to escape gets surrounded by a group of Eve teasers. Cornered, Princess Ella threatens them with her royal title as the Princess of the Green Sea Empire, but the hooligans laugh it off. At that moment, Robert arrives at the scene and teaches them a lesson. He also announces that Ella is the Beast King's future queen, which really terrifies the group, and they instantly leave. Soon, Caroline finds them in an alley and apologizes to the princess for not being responsible enough to take care of the king's guest. But she too is told by the king's aide that Ella is also the future queen. Ella is puzzled and angry at the whole ordeal. She's unable to figure out why these people are calling her their future queen when she hasn't ever seen their king at all. Caroline and Robert request her to follow them back to the palace because their king wishes to have a word with her. Ella finally agrees after a bit of reluctance because she too is curious about the identity of this Beast King. As the group of three leaves the alley, we see a girl hiding at the corner of the alley. This girl is a chameleon and has been keeping an eye on the princess's group ever since she arrived at the market. The chameleon girl is a spy and later tells her Scorpio master about Noah's plan to marry the princess. This Scorpio man wishes to kill the current Beast King Noah and take his place. He figures that this marriage must have something to do with the Holy Pearl, which he can't allow to fall back in the Beast King's hands. Ella inquires about the king from the cat girl Caroline, who tells her that no one in the Beast Kingdom knows about what the king looks like because the king has to keep his face hidden as per the rules. From her description, Ella realizes that he's the same person who sneaked in her palace the previous night and fought with the lecherous general, but also made her faint and kidnap her. She curses him, but her maid sadly requests her not to curse the king because he's kind-hearted and looks after his people. At night, Ella sneaks out of her room to find the so-called Beast King, as she wants to ask him why he brought her here. After some effort, she finally finds his room, which is empty. Ella recognizes the black cloak hanging in the room as the same outfit that her abductor was wearing when she accidentally hits a side of the wall. That places the key to a secret passage and opens the secret door. Although scared, the princess chooses to explore this mysterious place and enters the secret place which leads to the dark basement-like hall. This place is actually the hidden holy spring, where Noah is trying to restore the holy spring when he senses someone else's presence and immediately hides, but soon comes out when he sees that it's Ella. Since Noah is a werewolf, he turns to his original form at night, and Ella gets scared at his appearance. She questions him about his motive to marry her, and he makes an excuse that he has fallen for her ever since he saw her riding the horse in the jungle. Although perplexed, the princess makes up a story in her mind that since he's so scary, girls mustn't be agreeing to marry him, and that's why he kidnapped her. She flatters him with all the good things she has heard about him and requests him to let her go, but the king tells her that there's no way to go back. Ella gets confused that if she can come here, then why isn't it possible to go back to her state? But Noah is fed up with her questions and scares her by baring his teeth, making her run away in fear. Robert worries that the princess may refuse to marry the king now that she has seen the king's original appearance, but Noah seems nonchalant about it and declares that now onwards he'll meet her in his original appearance. They had first planned to show her his human form to make her fall in love with him, but the damage has been done. However, they both agree that if things don't go as planned, he can change his appearance. On his way back, Robert is stopped by Caroline, who likes him and wishes to befriend him. However, Robert is a snake and can't touch others without his gloves on, so he refuses to shake hands with her. As the heartbroken cat girl goes away, he dejectedly looks at his venomous hands and thinks he doesn't deserve her. The next day, Ella wakes up with a nightmare of the frightening Beast King and starts cursing him as soon as she opens her eyes. But once again, Caroline tells her that he's a good person and doesn't deserve her ill words. Exasperated, she plays a trick on Caroline and runs away from the palace. She realizes that her unique dressing is catching a lot of attention amongst the people of the city, so she pays a fraudulent fortune man to create her a new identity of a man and tries to escape the city. However, she's intercepted at the gates of the city as the same fraudulent man snitches on her identity to the city commander Charlotte. He reveals to the princess with a guilty conscience that someone paid her more to reveal her fake identity. Cornered and on the brink of being arrested, Ella instantly switches sides and tells people that she's the future Beast Queen and orders them not to touch her, but no one believes her. Noah watches this whole episode from aside with his henchman, who seems amused at the princess's smart tricks. They had actually been notified about her escape and had been following her all along. Robert exclaims how the princess, despite being witty, can't outsmart him. Noah then leaves in satisfaction. On the other hand, in her bid to escape the prison, Princess Ella runs away and enters a men's bathhouse. Her fake identity as a man helps her with the entry, while the lady commander isn't allowed to enter the bathhouse, thus resulting in Ella's escape. Once inside, Ella freely explores the whole bathhouse because the notification outside the bathhouse read that it was closed for business today. So she leisurely enters a bathroom but gets stunned upon noticing that a man is already there, probably immersed in a hot bath. She tiptoes her way out in a bid to leave unnoticed, but the man in the bath pool, who is none other than the Beast King, reaches her in an instant while showing his martial arts skills. Noah is shocked to see the princess because he expected it to be an enemy and questions her reason for being there. However, Princess Ella is too occupied with the handsome visuals of the man in front of her. The king right now doesn't have the frightening dark lines on his face nor his fangs and elongated ears, so she doesn't recognize him and is smitten by his looks. The king brings her away from the bathroom to escape being called the king in front of her by his guard. He accidentally drops the identity token of the Green Sea Empire's guard that they had taken before leaving with the princess. The princess, however, mistakes him to be her shadow guard from the Green Sea Empire and hugs him in relief. The king takes it as his cue to go along the lines and says he fought with the intruders that day and fainted. Upon waking up, he found himself in the Beast Kingdom. He pretends to share her misery, wondering about the reason for their presence in this kingdom. The king is greatly amused by the princess's self-delusion, who claims that the werewolf king is captivated by her beauty, and that once they're back to their empire, she'll ask her uncle to bestow a great reward on him. Noah takes advantage of the situation and claims that the king was impressed by his martial arts skills and hired him as a palace guard. He also says that the king is actually not that bad, to which the princess snorts because she calls him a monster. Once back at the palace, the princess devises a plan to escape the Beast Kingdom and draws a colorful map of the palace, which actually looks like abstract art and less of a map. She carefully hides it from her cat maid, who brings her meal. With a whole day without meals, Ella is starving, but one look at the food makes her wail uncontrollably. Caroline reveals that every person inside the Beast City is vegetarian and only eats vegetables. The revelation is no less than a death sentence for Ella, who loves to eat meat. She's now even more determined to leave this place as soon as possible. On the king's side, Noah instructs his guard Robert to call him Leo, the palace guard, in front of the princess during daytime. Since the princess is not familiar with his daytime face, this is their only chance to make her fall in love with him. Their conversation is interrupted by the lady commander Charlotte, who storms in the courtroom, followed by another commander who tries to stop her. Charlotte requests the Beast King from behind the screen to punish the girl who claims to be the future queen, as she not only misbehaved with her and her guards, but also created a ruckus in the city and caused loss to several people. She's, however, admonished back by the king for chasing the princess around the city, despite knowing her identity as the future queen. His unexpected response leaves the lady commander dumbstruck, who's dragged out of the king's courtroom by her companion. Watching this, Robert once again teases the king about his future queen. He worries for the king's future since the princess is quite a handful, and laughs the king's claims off when he tries to assure himself that he's the king and won't be overpowered by her. The next day, Noah arrives at the princess's room with Robert, who introduces him as Leo and Ella's new personal guard. Elated, Ella orders to be left alone with her guard and shows him the maps and strategies she's devised. To her dismay, Leo suggests for her to befriend the king, as he knows the original route to the Greensiang Empire. But Ella doesn't like his suggestion because she despises the man who brought her away from her home against her will. This causes Noah to be sad as well, because he didn't have any other option but to resort to this. He offers her a token of the Beast City so she can roam around, but of course, she can't leave the city. Ella gets sad when he hears her stomach rumble and explains that she can't bear to live without meat. Her situation sparks a suggestion in his mind as he smiles meaningfully. By the time of the next meal, Ella completely gives up and lies on her bed weakly. She requests Caroline to bring her meat at all costs, or she may die of hunger. Her condition really scares the cat girl, who scurries off to find meat for her future queen, but has no idea how and where she can find it. On her way, she meets Robert, who tells her that he has brought the princess's favorite chicken roast as per the king's order. Caroline greatly admires him and often looks for ways to spend some time with him. She shyly gives him a pair of gloves that she has made herself. The black gloves have a cat embroidered on each of them, which takes Robert by surprise, and although it appears that he likes them, he coldly rejects her once again and leaves. After some time, Noah goes to the princess with the chicken roast and claims to have brought it from a faraway place. The sight of meat makes the princess overjoyed, who pulls her guard from her empire to have a seat and share meat with her, but Noah tactfully refuses. The king is literally captivated by the beautiful princess as she tries to wipe his face that got some sauce smeared on it by her, but soon composes himself. Content with her meal, Ella also expresses her desire to have wine, but Noah tells her that this desire can't be filled because the beast people are extremely sensitive and their alcohol tolerance is really low. He soon realizes that he has unintentionally given his secret away as the princess immediately perks up and comes up with a plan involving getting the king intoxicated and making him spill the beans about the way to go back to her empire. He uncomfortably promises her to bring her wine and once again takes Robert to go to the human realm to get some wine. Robert is worried about his safety and tries to stop him from taking the risk, but the stubborn werewolf doesn't pay heed to his words and opens the portal to bring the lady some wine. When Noah brings wine to the princess, she gets very excited and offers 1 cup each to her maid Caroline and her guard, which is himself. He makes excuses, but the princess brushes them off because she thinks that he's a resident of the Green Sea Empire and can hold his liquor well. Well, she's in for a surprise. Caroline soon gets too drunk with just a small cup of wine, much to the princess's delight because she wanted to test the wine's effects on the beast people, and that's why she had offered it to the cat girl. But soon she's shocked to see her guard Leo equally drunk. She practically mourns over the honor of her empire. How could a Green Sea State's resident have such a low tolerance for wine? Her trusted guard, however, is too intoxicated to stand on his feet and falls in her arms. But before the situation could get worse, Robert tactfully arrives and brings him away. As the night arrives, our princess gets well dressed with a food container in her hand and goes to visit the Beast King. Unlike her previous encounter with the werewolf, she behaves well this time, so well that her suspicious intentions can be sniffed from a distance, causing Noah to be shocked at her seductive behavior. The cat soon comes out of the bag when Ella takes out wine from her food container and offers a cup of it to him. He refuses to take the drink because he's well aware of her intentions, but Ella is desperate to find a way back to her home, so she challenges him to play rock, paper, scissors with her. Whoever loses would have to have a cup of wine. Soon Ella is drunk beyond redemption, thanks to the werewolf king who keeps using his powers to predict her next move, and thus successfully evades the looming danger. As alcohol brings one's true emotions forward, the princess also gets sad and cries. She begs him to send her back to her palace. Her plight saddens the Beast King himself as well, and he feels sorry for her. But he is helpless because he doesn't have any other option to retrieve his holy pearl, and tells her that she can request anything, and all her wishes will be fulfilled, except this one. Drunk and sorrowful, the princess faints in his arms. When she wakes up after some time and finds herself in the Beast King's arms, she misunderstands him to have ill intentions and stabs him with her hairpin, but soon realizes her mistake and apologizes. However, Noah gets too agitated and shouts at her to leave. Ella gets frightened and runs back to her room, but she's attacked by a veiled girl on her way back. This assassin is the same chameleon girl who's been keeping an eye on her and attempts to kill the future queen, but Ella is saved by the king. The assassin girl runs away, but his werewolf senses become heightened because he came out under moonlight. The moonlight ignites Noah's werewolf instincts and he almost attacks the princess who wants to check on him, but soon Robert comes there and takes him away. Robert and Noah then discuss that he should marry Ella sooner and make things right with her because her life is in danger due to the Holy Pearl. When Ella hears about her wedding from Caroline, she is too shocked and also tells about it to her guard Leo. She tells him how the Monster King attacked her, and Noah helps her by applying ointment on her neck. Ella admires his looks and wishes that it'd have been better if he were the king. Noah wishes to propose to her properly to create a soft corner in her heart, and therefore he sends her expensive and exquisite jewelry items, but Ella rejects it all and tells Robert that she won't marry his king even if he brings her mountains of gold and silver. However, to her surprise, Robert says that he'll send her message to the king that she wants mountains of gold and silver, and the Beast King also goes along with her tantrums and sends her small mountains of said items. The king's behavior is a source of curiosity for many, and at the same time makes Charlotte, the Lady General, extremely jealous. Ella is now getting at her wits' end thinking about ways to stop this marriage. She goes to the Beast King to reject his proposal, but he stubbornly declares that he'll still marry her. Next, she prepares an extremely distasteful meal for him to see that she can't make a good wife, but he forcefully keeps eating it even when it's too hard to palate. However, she had added too many ingredients without looking at their properties and unknowingly added something that triggered his system. He becomes too agitated and his eyes turn blue as he questions her about the food ingredients. But once again, the princess mistakes him as trying to take advantage of her and slaps him before running away. Noah has to use his spiritual powers to heal the damage that her food caused. The next day, Ella questions a chef about the food ingredients that she had used, and the chef tells her that she used poisonous vegetables. This makes clear to the princess that the Beast King was really in pain, so she goes to sincerely apologize to him, and he accepts her apology. The scene then shifts to another young man who's locked in a dungeon. This man is Noah's younger brother William, and he's colluded with Noah's enemies. This is why the Beast King has locked him here. However, as the scheming villain that he is, William pretends to be sick and begs his brother to forgive him. Noah gets blinded by his love for his brother and orders to let him go. Once free, William approaches the princess with a pitiful face and requests to befriend him, saying he doesn't have anyone to talk to. He had received a message from Noah's enemy about this girl and her possible affiliation with the Holy Pearl, so he wants to get closer to her to get his hands on any information. However, Ella can't see past his scheming actions and agrees to befriend him. She also tells her guard Leo about her new friend but doesn't tell him about his identity, and instead offers him an exquisite fruit to eat, but Noah doesn't like the fruit. Seeing him evade the touch of that fruit, she starts teasing him by following him around with the mango-like fruit in her hand, but somehow he slips and falls down. He is closely followed by the princess, who also stumbles and falls on him, causing an accidental kiss. The kiss leaves them both astonished, and Noah, who's currently disguised as Leo, immediately runs away from there. Noah shares his experience with his guard and best friend Robert. He tells him that he's truly in love with her and can't help but keep giggling like a teenager who's experiencing his first love. Robert also feels happy for his master, as this is his first time experiencing something other than the deadly war of politics. Princess Ella becomes good friends with Noah's brother William, who starts manipulating her and gives her a suggestion that she should pester the Wolf King to at least bring some people from her Green Sea Empire here, because then she can plan a better strategy to escape. She pays heed to William's words and pitifully requests Noah for the company of some of her people so that she can feel at home, and the king agrees for the sake of her happiness. Robert once again strives to stop the king and once again ends up getting ignored. Noah goes to the human realm with Robert, and this time brings a group of royal guards back to the Beast City and dumps them in the jungle like they did to Ella. When the guards from the Green Sea State wake up, they're confused with their surroundings and try to decipher the situation, but soon Beast City's guards reach there and bring them to the Beast Palace. Ella hurries to meet her people and recognizes Green Sea State's commander, who expresses his concern for her safety and how they've been looking for her everywhere. He requests his princess to immediately accompany them back to her state, but gets interrupted by the Beast King, who declares that they can go back if they wish to, but the princess won't leave. Among the people abducted from Green Sea State is also the princess's fiancé, the general who notices the king to be the same person who attacked him at the night he attempted to force himself on the princess. He instigates the commander that they need to rescue the princess because the king is an abductor, to which the commander complies. The general then goes on to find the princess and once again misbehaves, with her claiming to complete the task that was left unfinished that night. But once again he ends up getting a beating from Noah, who's currently in his king's attire, and has recognized him to be the same pest from whom he had rescued the princess that night. The filthy general is thrown into prison. His actions are exposed that cause him to receive another beating from the general of the Green Sea Empire. He also thanks the Beast King on behalf of his empire for protecting their princess. Noah's heroic actions end up impressing Ella, who admires him further when he applies medicine on her wounded arm. However, she's still dissatisfied with him regarding the marriage thing and sounds aggrieved over the fact that she hasn't even received an official proposal yet. He therefore makes arrangements for a surprise proposal, much like modern proposals. Ella is brought to a beautiful hall adorned with flowers, and he proposes to her by going down on a knee and confessing his true love. Much to his surprise, the princess accepts his proposal. Her actions make him very happy and emotional over the fact that she agreed to marry him despite knowing his wolf form. He then goes to meet her in his human form and as her guard Leo to congratulate her. but the ground is pulled from under his feet when she explains that that was all but an act to win the king's trust so she can escape when the right time arrives. Sad and hurt at her deception of playing with his feelings, he orders Robert to tighten the security around her chamber, to make all attempts of escape futile. Back to Ella's side, she praises Leo in front of the Green Sea General for taking care of her all along, but a perplexed general reveals to her that their Green Sea palace doesn't have any guard named Leo. She feels betrayed and goes to confront him. Noah desperately tries to explain that he didn't mean to hurt her, but the damage has been done and the princess walks away dejectedly while he's left there coping with his own hurt. Fast forward, the wedding day arrives, and with no other options left, Ella gets married to him. As the night arrives and Noah enters his bridal chamber, he comes across a worried Ella dreading to have to sleep by his side, but he eases her worries by declaring that they'll sleep separately. However, he doesn't forget to take care of her and fix her blanket when she's asleep. Days go on and she steps out of the palace one day. Since Noah is still acting as her personal guard, Leo, although not from her empire, she has to bring him along. The pair gets attacked by the Beast King's enemies, whose main target is the princess, who's now the queen, because they don't recognize the king. Noah sustains fatal injuries in his bid to save Ella, and she brings him back to receive the treatment against the protest of royal servants who think she shouldn't be so concerned about a man who isn't her husband. Ella stays by his bedside all the time, and one night hears Noah confess his love for her in his unconscious state. This unexpected confession leaves her surprised but not repulsed. So when Noah, who is Leo in her eyes, recovers from his injuries, the princess goes on to tell him that she is also in love with him. Not only that, she also kisses him to prove that she's not joking about it. She then heads for the Beast King, who's again Noah in his black cloak, and tells him that she's fallen in love with someone else and tells him to let go of her because she'll never feel the same way about him. Internally delighted to be on the receiving end of her love, he coldly declares that she can love whomever she wants, but she'll forever stay his queen, because as per the Beast rules, a king only marries once in his life. This declaration leaves her worried. The next day, Ella receives a surprise birthday party from Noah in his king's attire, accompanied by their trusted people like Caroline, Robert, and others. The arrangements leave her truly amazed, prompting her to convey her heartfelt thanks to the Beast King, who happily acknowledges her gratitude. When she's back to her room, she thinks about Leo, who hasn't been around for the whole day, and wonders if he forgot her birthday. Noah then comes over in his guard avatar and asks her to follow him somewhere. He brings her to a beautiful garden filled with flowers, wooden swings, and fireflies. Ella instantly takes a fancy to this place and gets even happier. She kisses Leo on his forehead and tells him that he belongs to her now. Noah then kisses her back and the couple spends an intimate moment together. Back at the palace, Noah is happy to have shared a kiss with the princess. He also estimates that he may have gotten his holy pearl back by now. But when he tries to test his powers while sitting inside the holy spring, he realizes that the holy pearl is still inside Ella. He has to stay in his wolf form while kissing the girl in order to get his belonging back. The revelation is quite distressful for him. Next, we see William collude with the chameleon girl who belongs to Noah's enemy's sect. William has joined their team and helps her disguise herself as his brother by wearing a similar mask and dress. The chameleon girl then infiltrates the palace and takes Ella away to a secluded place before finally taking off the mask with Leo's face and attacking her. She tries to kill the princess in one motion, but her plan is sabotaged by Noah, who comes there on time and fights her off. The battle enters a critical mode when Agnes attacks Noah with a needle, but Ella takes it on herself. A furious Beast King vengefully takes the needle out of Ella's head and counterattacks the chameleon girl with the same needle, causing her to be injured. But before he can capture her, she's helped and taken away by a disguised William. When Ella becomes conscious, she realizes that she has lost her eyesight, which must be because of the needle that struck her in the head. The discovery leaves her distressed, but she's quickly consoled by Noah, who promises to bring the light of her eyes back. During these days, Noah takes great care of her in his king's avatar, and she appreciates his gentlemanly manners. Since she isn't open to let him touch her, he guides her with the help of a string by giving her its one end to hold and holding the other himself. He helps to put her in bed, and also allows her to hold a patch of his hair since she's too scared to stay alone. Gradually, they become good friends. Noah also brings her to a serene place where they spend some quality time and chat around till the night arrives. In some days, Ella completely recovers her eyesight but asks her maid to keep it a secret because she wants to surprise the Wolf King who's taken such good care of her. She's grateful to the Wolf King and gives the credit of her healing to his good care and tonics. However, she still doesn't know that he's the same person, Leo, who is her personal guard. That night, Noah once again helps her tuck in bed and lets her hold his hair while she sleeps. The next morning, Ella wakes up at dawn and looks at the sleeping Wolf King at her bedside. As the day gets brighter, she watches him undergo transformation and become the handsome guard that she knows as Leo. She finally realizes that Leo and Noah are the same person's day and night avatars. Noah starts to wake up, so she pretends to sleep. However, she can't keep up the pretense for too long and angrily questions him why he played with her and hid things from her. Noah is shocked to know that she has realized the truth and admits with a guilty conscience that he's actually both persons. He also tells her about his holy pearl and how the only way to retrieve it is a kiss shared out of pure love. However, the truth hurts the princess even more as she assumes that he has been pretending to be in love with her all along and has been playing with her emotions. Heartbroken, she demands to go back to her state, and this time Noah agrees because he doesn't want to hurt her any further. Ella immediately goes back to her room and packs her belongings. She also says her goodbye to Caroline before coming to the Wolf King's room. There, she happens to accidentally eavesdrop on the conversation between Noah and Robert. Robert protests that he shouldn't let the queen go so easily when he's aware that he'll die within a few months without his holy pearl. But Noah tells him that he'll accept death as his fate, but can't force the princess to stay behind anymore. Their conversation leaves her stunned for two reasons. One, that he'll die without his pearl, and two, that he's still willing to let her go for the sake of her happiness. At that moment, she watches Robert come out of the king's chamber and asks him again that will Noah really die without his pearl, and he confirms that to be the case. He begs her not to leave his king and tells her that initially he brought her here for his pearl, but now the king is truly in love with her. Overwhelmed by emotions, Ella enters the king's chamber and tries to kiss Noah, but he distances himself from her. He tells her that he won't go for it until he's regained her trust. His firm stance finally brings peace to the princess's mind, and she agrees to stay behind. Far away in another place, we see Noah's archenemy, the Scorpio Man. He has invented a new kind of medicine that can hypnotize the person who consumes it and make them his slave. He orders for 2 servants to be captured and brought to him from the royal palace. As his servant brings 2 maids from the royal palace to him, we see that one of the maids is Caroline, and they both are force-fed the hypnotizing medicine and come under the Scorpio's control. The Scorpio Man then calls his daughter Lily and discusses his plan to kill Noah and snatch the holy pearl from the princess with her. He shows a small but poisonous Scorpio and tells her that her strength can increase manifolds if she absorbs its poison in her body. After a bit of hesitation, Lily accepts the Scorpio that directly itself in her skin, causing her unbearable pain as its poison slowly becomes a part of her body. On the other hand, we see Ella and Noah finally come closer and share several sweet moments. There's no more secrets, and the couple seems to be enjoying each other's company. They often spend time together and even celebrate a festival that Ella enjoys a lot. After some days, she finally confesses to him that she's now truly in love with both of his personality sides. Ella shyly suggests getting remarried because their last wedding didn't hold the depth of emotions that they hold now for each other. Her confession makes him really happy as he hugs her and promises to get married again. When the 2 possessed maids come back to the palace, they bring a stack of the green medicine with them that they add in everyone's food. The food is then served to everyone inside the palace and soon hypnotizes them all as they pledge loyalty to the Scorpio Man. Caroline even skillfully makes Robert consume the medicine, and soon whole palace gets hypnotized. At night, we see Scorpio's daughter Lily standing outside Ella's bedchamber. She's now even more powerful than before thanks to the poisonous Scorpio that she consumed. When Ella opens the door to her room, she's immediately attacked by her and falls several feet back. Ella gets severely injured, but Lily doesn't stop just there. She takes her hand and starts inserting her poisonous aura inside Ella's body, making her writhe in pain. When her body can't handle it anymore, it automatically expels the holy pearl out of her body that Lily securely hides away. However, as she's about to leave, Noah also reaches there and sees his beloved on the floor in a devastated condition. He gets so worried that instead of focusing on his enemy, he first runs to the princess's side to check on her, and Lily takes advantage of the situation to run away. Noah hurries to pick the princess up to bring her to the doctor, but he gets surrounded on all sides by his people. They all have a strong killing intent, and he sees Lily lead them. It doesn't take him long to understand that they all are hypnotized, and before they could attack him, he flees from the back door of the palace. He brings Ella in the jungle and starts healing her with his spiritual powers. He also sucks away the poison from his wife's body. His efforts finally bring Ella out of the danger zone, but he gets too drained and can now only live for 3 days at most. While Noah is lamenting over his plight, the pair come across the princess's guard commander from the Green Sea Empire. He tells the king that he had come to the jungle to gather some herbs, which reveals to the wolf that he didn't take the hypnotizing medicine. Worried, he asks Noah to wait there so he can go and check on the palace's condition. Unfortunately, he gets caught and tortured by Lily to reveal their whereabouts. Lily threatens to kill the commander's beloved if he keeps refusing, but the loyal commander grabs a nearby guard's sword and kills himself because he can't bear to choose between his lover and his master. When Ella finally wakes up, she gets too worried to see Noah in such a dire condition. She keeps blaming herself for his plight, but the king assures that he's fine. Noah opens the portal to the human realm for her and tells her to leave the Beast City immediately, but Ella can't bear to leave her love behind and refuses to leave. With every moment that passes, Noah starts getting out of control and even attacks her in his moment of haze, but immediately lets her go and once again requests her to leave. Ella too doesn't get scared and instead hugs him. She keeps consoling him that she's there for her. However, the couple's bad time isn't over yet as Lily senses the spiritual fluctuation created by the portal that he had opened and traces them. Noah and Ella get arrested. In the prison, when Ella sees Lily arrive to laugh at their misery, she immediately switches sides and requests Lily to take her away from that place because she was brought here against her wishes by the Beast King. Her declaration brings immense hurt to Noah, but she refuses to look at him and badmouths him in front of the Scorpio lady. Lily brings her away after some consideration, and on a condition that Ella would have to kill Noah with her own hands, to which the princess agrees readily. Once the girls leave, Noah's brother William also comes to the prison, and he too has come to laugh at Noah's misery. He asks his brother how it feels to be imprisoned, and what's so special about this holy pearl that he's dying to get his hands on it. Noah then reveals to his brother that the fate of the whole Beast City is connected to that pearl. For some reason, if he fails to acquire the holy pearl and subsequently increase the amount of holy water, soon the whole place will get destroyed. He knows that the Scorpio didn't tell his brother the entire truth, so he urges him to go and check on the holy spring in the basement of his room for himself. At first, William finds it hard to believe his brother, but he eventually goes to check on the spring, and the situation only confirms his brother's truth. Next day, a shackled Noah is brought to stand in the middle of the palace, surrounded by all the hypnotized Beast City's people. The Scorpio man and his daughter Lily order for the princess to be brought and give her a sword to kill the werewolf. However, contrary to their expectations, the princess performs a strange ritual. She slashes both the king and her own hands and joins them in a way that their blood gets mixed. Before anyone could stop them, she goes on to kiss him. This has been their plan all along. Noah had explained to her that she's been keeping the holy pearl in her body for a long time, so she holds its spiritual power which she had to transfer to through this ritual. The transfer of energy causes her to lose, and Noah releases his strong aura, causing his shackles to break, and everyone else to accept Lily. Lily, a lot more powerful, wishes to fight him head-on, but an agitated Noah throws a sword dipped in his spiritual power to cut through her and kills her on the spot. With her death, Holy Pearl once again gets expelled from her body and comes back to its original owner, who is busy tending to his weak wife. 2 days later, Ella wakes up to a restored city and normal people, but gets agitated worrying about Noah. She runs to his room and finds him safe and healthy as he tells her that he was busy fixing the spiritual spring. Things are finally back to being normal, and he can now stay in his human form without having to shift back in his wolf form at night. But she gets sad to know about her general's suicide. A few days later, William also comes to apologize to Noah and requests for the chameleon girl to be left alive. With his brother's confirmation that she'll be free after serving her punishment, he tries to commit suicide, but Noah forcefully stops him, freeing him from all his guilt. While everything else falls back to its place, Caroline also gets proposed to by Robert, who finally admits that he's also been in love with her for a long time. Caroline now becomes happy and takes out a veil to tie on her face because the next moment Robert kisses her. She ties the veil on her face because she knows that he can't touch her directly with his poisonous body. At night, residents of the Beast City release lanterns in memory of Ella's general, who sacrificed his life in his attempt to save their city. Later, Ella shows Noah the wedding dresses that she's designed for their big day and tries to tease him with her attempts at seduction. However, her tricks fail miserably compared to the Wolf King, who finally lets go of all his restraints and reciprocates her advances with more passion. 2 years later, we see William burdened by official duties and complaining about being left to do so much work while his brother and Robert have escaped on romantic getaways with their wives. However, the chameleon girl, who's now his wife, consoles with a promise that once everyone else comes back, they can also go on such a romantic journey. Ella and Noah have actually gone to visit her parents in Green Sea State, and the couple now has 2 kids who are greatly adored by their grandparents. The pair decides to leave the kids with their grandparents to visit Europe by themselves, just like Ella's parents, who set on a romantic journey by themselves. With this, the series comes to a happy end.